Okay, so today we're diving deep into the life and ideas of Guru Nanak.
Guru Nanak Dev Ji.
Yeah, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the founder of Sikhism.
Right, the first of the 10 Sikh gurus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for our listeners who are all about those like light bulb moments, those aha moments,
Yeah.
this deep dive is going to be right up your alley because it's really about exploring the roots of a major world religion.
A global faith.
And the principles that are still so powerful today. And we've got a bunch of interesting excerpts
We do.
about Guru Nanak's life and teachings, and we're going to try to pull out like the juiciest, the most interesting parts
Absolutely.
for you.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So right off the bat, what's really interesting is how early on we see Guru Nanak's spiritual perspective kind of emerging.
Yeah.
Born on April 15th, 1469 in Talwandi, which is now known as Nankana Sahib.
Okay.
The historical accounts really highlight that even as a young person, he was already showing a deep wisdom and questioning, the norms, the religious and societal practices of his time.
Right. And it's so interesting to think about, like, why would a child in that era be so fundamentally, like, against or questioning these deeply ingrained, like, ways of life and ways of thinking?
Right.
It's not just, like, kid curiosity.
It wasn't just that it was hinting at something much deeper.
Yeah.
This independent spiritual intellect that would eventually shape a whole new faith.
Totally. And the excerpts really highlight this tension between, like, young Nanak and his family's expectations for him.
Right.
Like, they're trying to steer him toward more worldly pursuits.
Yeah.
Particularly business.
Business, yeah.
But his focus was just so clearly elsewhere. He was much more drawn to, like, meditation and contemplation.
And his bigger questions.
The big questions about existence and the divine.
Absolutely.
Like almost a kid whose inner world was more compelling than the external world.
That's a great way to put it.
And that early compassion and kindness towards everybody, regardless of background, is striking.
It's so important, right? And if you think about the bigger picture, these early inclinations weren't just personality quirks. Right. They were really foreshadowing the revolutionary nature of his later teachings, that inherent questioning of existing structures, and then the deep empathy, those two things, really laid the groundwork for his challenge to religious divisions and social hierarchies.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is where it gets super interesting.
Yeah.
At the age of 30, a truly pivotal moment, Guru Nanak, while bathing in the river Bain, he has this profound divine revelation.
A revelation.
Accounts describe him disappearing for 3 days.
3 days.
And upon his return, he makes this earth-shattering declaration.
Oh, yeah.
There is no Hindu, no Muslim, only one God.
Wow.
Talk about a statement that just cuts to the core.
It's so central, isn't it? Its importance can't be overstated.
Huge.
Because it immediately breaks down the prevailing religious boundaries of the time.
Yeah.
And asserts this fundamental unity of humanity.
Right. It wasn't about blending faiths.
It wasn't about that. It was about something much bigger.
Exactly. It was pointing toward this singular, universal, divine reality.
That exists beyond labels.
Beyond those labels. And this was really like the spark.
The initial spark.
That ignited his whole mission.
Absolutely.
So for the next 25 years, he goes on these incredible journeys.
The Eudasis.
The Eudasis across vast territories.
Huge journeys.
India, Tibet, Sri Lanka, Persia.
The Arabian Peninsula.
When we talk about these extensive Eudasis, I mean, what kind of practical hurdles and cultural landscapes was he dealing with?
Oh, yeah.
This wasn't just like a spiritual tour.
Not at all.
Right.
These journeys were immense undertakings.
Right.
Fraught with challenges, difficult terrain, long distances, diverse cultures.
And what's so fascinating is the way he interacted with people during these travels.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like preaching from a distance.
No, he was engaging in dialogue.
Yeah.
With religious scholars, with saints, with everyday people.
He wasn't afraid to like challenge what he saw.
He wasn't afraid to challenge anything.
As empty rituals, the caste system, hypocrisy, wherever he encountered it.
He saw through it all.
And his emphasis always remained on genuine devotion, rooted in honest, living humility and selfless service actions over doctrines.
Exactly.
So all this travel and interaction ultimately leads to the core principles of his teachings.
Right.
And the source material really outlines 3 fundamental tenets: Naam Japna, Kirat Karni, and Vand Chakna.
The 3 pillars.
For you listening, understanding these is key to grasping the essence of Guru Nanak's philosophy.
Absolutely. So when we talk about Naam Japna, the remembrance of God,
Yeah.
It's crucial to understand it's not just about reciting words.
Right.
It's about cultivating a deep internal connection,
Mm.
a constant awareness of the divine presence in every aspect of life.
So less like mechanical repetition and more like
Like a continuous thread of mindfulness.
yeah, woven through your day.
Exactly.
Then there's Kirat Karni earning an honest livelihood.
Right, which underscores the dignity of work and the vital importance of ethical conduct in everything we do.
Right.
And then finally, Vand Chakna is sharing with others, highlighting compassion, generosity, and responsibility toward our community.
And those in need.
And those in need.
And these aren't separate ideas.
They're all interwoven.
They're guiding individuals toward a life of integrity and fulfillment.
Exactly.
And it's through these principles that Guru Nanak directly confronted the rigid social structures of his time.
Particularly the caste system.
The caste system, the material is so clear on this. He declared the fundamental equality of all human beings.
He was radical.
So radical for that era.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just a theoretical declaration either.
Right.
We see this principle powerfully manifested in the establishment of Langar,
Langar.
the community kitchen.
Yeah, what was so revolutionary about Langar?
Well, it created a space where people from all walks of life,
Regardless of
their caste, religion, social standing, could sit together and share a meal as equals.
powerful.
It was a tangible way of breaking down social barriers and demonstrating equality in action.
It wasn't just about eating together.
It was a statement about human dignity.
And this spirit of equality extended beyond just sharing a meal.
Right.
It manifested in the concept of seva, selfless service.
Seva.
The excerpts highlight this as another central pillar of his teachings,
Yeah.
encouraging everyone to actively contribute to the well-being of the community.
Without any expectation of reward or recognition.
Wow.
Seva is really the active embodiment of compassion.
Mm.
It's about putting those principles of equality and sharing into tangible practice.
So whether it's volunteering in the Langar
Helping to maintain the Gurdwara, the Sikh temple.
or offering assistance to anyone in need.
Right? Seva reinforces the interconnectedness of the community
And fosters a sense of humility.
and collective responsibility.
Now, these profound teachings weren't just spoken and then forgotten.
They were carefully preserved.
Guru Nanak's wisdom was compiled into hymns.
Hymns.
And these hymns formed the foundation of the Guru Granth Sahib.
The central holy scripture of Sikhism.
The Guru Granth Sahib.
And it's important to remember the profound beauty and spiritual power in his poetry.
Yeah.
These hymns are so rich with devotion. They express this deep, abiding love for the divine. But they also address really crucial themes. Peace, justice, the path towards enlightenment.
Their continued use in Gurdwaras worldwide.
Yeah.
And their ability to inspire people across cultures.
Speaks to the universal nature of his message.
Totally. Okay, so as his life unfolds, the accounts tell us that he eventually settles in Kartarpur. But even in his later years, his work of teaching and guiding others continued.
It never stopped.
And a really crucial point here is his appointment of his disciple Pai Lena.
As his successor.
As his successor, he renamed him Guru Angad Dev Ji.
Guru Angad Dev Ji.
This act formally established the lineage of gurus within Sikhism.
And what's really significant about this succession is the criteria that Guru Nanak established for leadership. He prioritized spiritual wisdom
Right.
and a demonstrated commitment to selfless service above all else.
So it wasn't about like birthright or family connection.
It is about merit
Wow.
and the individual's capacity to carry forward the spiritual mission.
That's huge.
This principle of spiritual meritocracy has had a lasting impact on the Sikh tradition.
Okay, so finally the material brings us to his passing on September 22nd, 1539.
At the age of 70.
And even in his death, there's this powerful symbolism. Both Hindus and Muslims laid claim to his remains,
Yeah.
really reflecting the universal appeal and the boundary transcending nature of his teachings.
Even in his final moments.
Yeah.
And his legacy didn't end with his passing, of course.
Of course not.
It continued to flourish through the subsequent 9 Sikh gurus.
Right.
Each building upon those foundations he laid to the full development of Sikhism.
As distinct and vibrant faith.
And the relevance of his teachings today is remarkable.
It really is.
His core emphasis on kindness, honesty,
Humility.
these are fundamental human values.
That resonate across all cultures and throughout time. So for you listening, what are the key takeaways from this deep dive into the life and teachings of Guru Nanak?
Well, we've explored his revolutionary emphasis on the oneness of God.
The unity of humanity.
His unwavering advocacy for equality for all.
His promotion of selfless service.
And the crucial importance of earning an honest living.
And that aha moment, hopefully,
Yeah.
comes from really understanding that these foundational principles of Sikhism
Weren't just abstract concepts.
Right.
They were actively lived and practiced,
by Guru Nanak himself.
and have continued to shape the values and actions of millions around the world.
It gives us such vital insight into a significant global faith.
And its impact.
So here's a final thought to consider.
Okay.
In a world often divided along so many lines,
Yeah.
Guru Nanak's message of unity and interconnectedness feels incredibly timely.
Absolutely.
So reflecting on his core principles of equality and selfless service, what are some practical ways that you as an individual can embody these principles in your own life?
In your daily life.
It's worth taking a moment to consider how this centuries-old wisdom can still offer guidance
And inspiration.
in our complex world.
It's timeless.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for our deep dive today.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.
Bye.